Brothers and sisters, welcome to the show. You hear on Revive FM 94.0 on your FM dial with me, Kamara, the Muslim poet. Welcome to the show today. We have a special interview today with Faisal Choudhry from Freshly Grounded. Faisal, you there, brother? If you can hear me.
Can we hear it? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you okay. How you doing, Faisal?
Cool, we're in.
How you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well.
Yeah.
I had dramas getting in, man, but I got here on time because the tube's quite efficient. But today it was a bit of a mad one, you know. Anyway,
how is public transport now with the whole kind of COVID situation?
It's not too bad. People are a bit cagey. Sometimes people will stand close to you and then they'll kind of like move away from you. One time I got on a bus and there was a guy on the bus and like he just like got up and just moved from my spot completely. But I was cool about it because I'm not carrying anything. But you just don't know who's got it and who hasn't got it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, so it's still a bit cagey on the tube. But alhamdulillah, it's okay. Faisal, thanks for coming on the show, my brother.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me on. I really do.
Appreciate you coming on. Let's talk about Freshly Grounded. Your show, when you first started the show, did you realize how much of an impact it was going to have on the Muslim youth day to day? Because I was reading some articles by some of the youths that actually follow your show, even some of the adults as well. And you've actually brought them closer to the deen. You've actually enabled them to start praying and start practicing and giving up, you know, a lot of the isms and schisms which you get from non-practicing.
So the short answer is no, I didn't expect it. But I never kind of built Freshly Grounded with the idea of you know, how many views can we get, how many numbers can we hit. My idea of it was, let me try and create something that I feel like I need. And if I feel like I need it and it doesn't exist, then let me try and create it. There's a book called How to Stop Worrying and Start Living by Dale Carnegie. And I think it was written in like 1942. And in the beginning of that book, he mentions that he was teaching kind of his students how to stop worrying and stop stressing in business. And so he went to the New York Library and he realized that there was, I think, something like 9 books that existed on worrying. And because it's kind of like in alphabetical order, he noticed that there was like 900 books written on worms because worms was next to worrying. And he saw that as a big issue because worrying is obviously one of the biggest issues kind of that causes a lot of stress and therefore like physical illnesses. And so he said that if it didn't exist, he created it. He wrote the book himself, and now it's like one of the best-selling books of all time. So the point I'm getting at is I like to take on that mentality of if it doesn't exist, if I feel like I can do some justice to it, then I'll try and create it.
Right. Amazing. Because I was talking to some family members. I was talking to my stepdaughter Anissa, and I was talking to her cousin Aisha, and they were saying that they listened to your show. And I listened to it before, but they really kind of like got me into it. Do you know what I mean? And then they got their mother into it as well. And my wife watches it as well, so they're actually into it. And like, you know, she I think she likes Tim Humble, who's one of the guests that you have on your show. And they were saying that it's been really good for their deen and their development. And one brother, I was reading about him, and he was saying that he actually dropped a lot of things that he was doing in the past because of watching your show. Wow. How did that make you feel?
I think that a piece of advice. So people like you mentioned, Tim Humble. You know, these people are gems, I think, in our society, and so I try and keep people like that close to me so that I can remain, like I suppose, grounded. And so they will tell me things like, you always have to know yourself better than anybody else, and once you know yourself better, then the idea is that praise and criticism, they'll both affect you in the same way, or the idea is that neither of them affect you because you know yourself. So I try not to let it get to me, man. If I try and get hung up on the idea that people are benefiting off of what we created, then I'll get a big head, and it won't be very good for me. And I think family helps with that and stuff as well. And just knowing your reality, bro. I know the reality of myself. I know my life, and I know kind of how far I have to go. I'm nowhere near where I need to be as a person, as an optimum person to ever be like, you know, praising myself. So hopefully, I hope that it doesn't affect me is the short answer.
Man, that's very humbling answer from yourself. Do you know what I mean? But from looking outside in, I would say that it's a great achievement. Do you know what I mean? You know, I know that you don't like to praise yourself, but I actually think it's a great achievement to know that people have started practicing from, do you know what I mean? Listening to your show. Carrying on from that, how did it feel when you knew you sold out the Oldwich Theatre in the West End, and you brought halal entertainment to the West End? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if it's one of the first that's been done in the UK. I think it has, but you actually brought halal entertainment to the West End.
Yeah, do you know what? So I should clarify that we didn't sell it out because that would imply that like literally every single seat that we had there was sold out. But we alhamdulillah, it was packed out. The audience was packed out. And do you know what? It's always been a dream of mine. I've come from a performing arts background, and
Right.
so it's always been a dream of mine to like perform in the West End. And so when I started practicing, I think one of the things that made me somewhat sad was that I realized that I wouldn't be able to kind of stand on a stage in the West End. And then again, I realized that anything is possible. If it doesn't exist, you can create it yourself. And so, like you mentioned, we were able to put on a really cool show in the West End. We had it was packed out, and so many people came and enjoyed it.
Because I watched it, you had like the two tiers, didn't you? You had like
yeah.
At the bottom, and then you had another tier at the top, and like the sisters and the brothers could actually enjoy it and actually feel comfortable within their space. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it was a dream come true for me, and so we actually had planned to do a tour this time around because I always have this challenge of like once we accomplish something, how do we then go one step higher? How do we become better? And so the next step for me was a UK tour. And so we had like everything in the pipelines to make this happen. And we were about 3 weeks away from the tour. And one of the venues was at Aldwych again. And because of this COVID situation,
in Birmingham, Manchester as well, right?
It's Birmingham, Manchester, and London, yeah. And alhamdulillah, qadar Allah, it didn't end up happening because of obviously COVID, what's going on in the world. But we plan to still pull that off, inshallah, whether that be in a few months' time or early next year.
Inshallah, we I mean, I think there's a lot of people looking forward to that. To be honest with you, and we got it. Even I myself was gonna. I didn't go to the last one, but I myself was like, I got to get a ticket for this one. I've got to go to this one and support the cause. And
well, you're invited, Ali. You definitely, when it happens, inshallah, you'll be one of the ones to make sure that
I appreciate it. I know that you've had quite a few artists on the bill of Freshly Grounded. I know that you had Anthony Joshua team there as well. You interviewed one of the I think it was the lifestyle or health style team down there. I know that you had people like Muslim Bilal on the show. Tell us what it was like having these artists and influencers on your show.
I think it's always great to get insight into people's lives, and we live in a day and age now where to sit and have a conversation like you and I are having right now, Ali, is extremely rare. And I think you and I are both blessed to be in a position where we can listen and talk to someone for a whole hour without having to look at our phones or be distracted. And so I just love the fact that I can sit in a room with someone who has their own experiences, who has their own kind of gems to that I can kind of pick from and just listen. And so I think one of the biggest things it's taught me is the art of listening. I've never been a great listener, and it's forced me to listen and to learn. And it's inspiring. I see myself as an audience member of Freshly Grounded more than a host. I'm listening to people's stories, and it really, really inspires me. I often, once I'm done with them, I kind of put things into action myself that I've kind of been inspired by. So it's absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful that we get to pick the brains of some of the top people, especially in kind of the Muslim sector. I think a breakthrough person for us was Moeen Ali. I don't think we had hit someone like mainstream until we had him. And of course, as we know, he's like he plays for England in the international cricket team. And so just to gain insight into how the life of a famous sports person is, it was just so interesting.
And he's practicing as well. He's on the faith. Do you know what I mean? I've seen him around all the England cricketers, how much they admire him, and he's on point with his cricket and stuff like that. And he's actually a nice person. He actually interacts with them,
Yeah.
That must have been really great to have him on the show.
It was absolutely amazing, man. Yeah.
Also, I know that you interviewed Sonny Boy Williams as well. What was that like? Because he's a big rugby player in New Zealand.
Yeah, so the Sonny Bill Williams episode has been our most popular one so far. We were able to get him around the time that everything kind of happened in New Zealand, and as we know, he is from New Zealand, and so he was very active in kind of the da'wah there and just kind of building communities when the shooting had happened in the mosque. And so that was around the time that one of our guys, John Fontaine, went over there to kind of support the da'wah and support kind of in any way he can with the communities. And he managed to get an interview with Sonny, and he said, "Listen, Faisal, I had a back and forth with John, and ultimately he kind of allowed us to have that as an episode of Freshly Grounded." So I'm grateful to John for that, because he carried that interview out, and it was an amazing one. It was actually the place that Sonny Bill announced that his mum had taken Shahada, which was amazing as well.
And is it true that a couple of his brothers as well took Shahada as well? Is that right?
Yeah, so at that time, it was his mum and his really, really close teammate who was who plays for New Zealand as well, who now is like really, really active in the deen.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, may Allah reward him.
I mean, keep them steadfast upon the deen. John Fontaine's been around for a while doing his dawah. I admire him. He actually went to my country, Sierra Leone, and he done dawah there as well. And they know him in Freetown really well. It's a place called Mountain Court where he goes to, and he actually speaks the lingo as well. So
really,
big up John Fontaine. He knows how to speak.
Oh, John's a legend, man. He's old school in the game.
They actually love him in Sierra Leone. Do you know what I mean? When he goes there, they say, John is there, and he starts speaking the lingo with him. He knows all the food and everything, and he's really sincere with his dawah, though. That's one thing I give him. You know, he's devoted himself to the dawah. He goes to different countries, and he's helping to build schools, and he does a lot of charity work and this, that, and so he's very active in it. But he's very sincere with it. I think that's definitely his calling, without a shadow of a doubt. He's
really active in Uganda as well.
Oh, in Uganda as well. MashaAllah.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. So tell us about Muslim Bilal. How did you lot come together to do some of the stuff that you've done with him?
Yeah, so Muslim Bilal is obviously really, really active in charity work, and there's a charity that's kind of he's helped to build, and that charity approached me kind of in the early days. And we started working together, and so then subsequently we ended up traveling to Gambia and doing some work. We've been there a few times now since. So I suppose just through kind of the charity work and bumping into each other, and the kind of circle in the Muslim scene is very small as well. So when you get invited to an event, and then you often see the same people at events and stuff, and I was doing a lot of hosting around that time. So I think naturally we kept bumping into each other, and we kind of built a bit of a connection. So naturally, when I was starting Freshly Grounded, and I needed someone to help us kind of boost it a bit, I must have had him on like the second episode or the third episode. I did one really, really early, which really helped. I'm grateful to him. You know, MB is a really, really giving and generous brother. Yeah. And everybody has stories about how he has helped them. And with myself as well, anytime I've asked him for a favor, anytime I've asked him to help me push something, he's never been shy to help. He's never asked me for anything in return. And he's done a lot, man, with some of the kind of footage that we've created, some of the adverts that we've directed. As you know, he's a director as well by trade. And so he's actually stepped in and helped us direct them. And people don't know that he's helped me direct a lot of the stuff, which again, he just kind of gave his time to mentor me. So I'm really appreciative to Bilal.
Yeah, mashallah. I had him on here for an interview, and he's actually got his book out called Faith. And I think he'd make a film out of it as well. And I think the charity you're talking about, is it the Spot Project in the Gambia?
That's correct, yeah, the Spot Project.
Yeah, they've done really well with that. I think at the moment, they're trying to build they've got a boys' school, and I think they're on the way to building the girls' school.
That's correct.
Yeah. What part of Gambia is it in? Is it in the capital Banjul, or is it? Yeah,
so we would land at Banjul Airport, and it was a very close drive. So it's pretty much in the capital. Yeah, you're testing me here now because I haven't been there in about a year and a half. But yeah, that's exactly correct. That's the airport that we land at, and we're very, very close to there.
Right. I know there's another brother that started it with them. His name is Abu Bakr, right?
Yes.
I don't know his surname. I know that
Islam, Abu Bakr Islam.
Abu Bakr Islam. Okay, mashallah. Yeah, because I was reading about it, and I took my hat off to them. I was like, wow, guys, man, you done really well to build that school there. Do you know what I mean? And these young kids, they've lost most of their parents and their families, and you've given them hope that they can get an education, they can get an Islamic education, they can get food, they can get shelter, they can get protection. Do you know what I'm trying to say? The Prophet ﷺ said that the people who take care of orphans will be like you and me, this close. Be close to me like that in paradise, So people that are doing work like this are doing real work, because in certain places to get even food for the night is difficult. I mean, in the UK, we've got shelters where people are having to go to shelters for food. in the nighttime. Not saying that Africa doesn't. Africa has a lot of great things. Let's not get it twisted. There's lies in the media that Africa doesn't have no food. I always tell my daughter, not true. There's loads of food there. But the point I'm trying to make is, in some places they wouldn't have the accessibility to have shelters and stuff like that, where you could go to food banks and get these kind of things, you know. So hats off to them for pulling that off, and it's still ongoing. They get a lot of people going over there as well to actually contribute to the charity and to go and see these young kids and to give them hope in terms of what they want to do, whatever they want to be in life. Do you know what I mean? You know, because growing up and having no parents around you, sometimes you think there is no hope for yourself, and especially if you've been abused and you've been maltreated as a youngster, you know, which it does happen in some places, you know, where they just get, you know, tossed out from their home and there's no one to look after them. There's no one to say to them, hey, you know, you can be this or you can do that, whether it be the family members that don't want to know them no more because their parents have died and stuff like that. And you do get these situations. So, mashallah, congratulations for them for that. Faisal, I want to ask you, how did you come up with the name Freshly Grounded?
So like all good things that happen in my business or anything business or work related, it comes firstly from Allah and then from my brother. I just kind of see myself as like sitting at the bottom of like or like a mountain that he's like on the top of and just like dripping anything that I can from him. And he came up with the name, and the idea behind it was like, okay, so there's many different ideas behind the name Freshly Grounded. So the idea of the podcast was like two guys having a chat who like having a chat over coffee, right? And so that was one element. Another element was that my co-host Sam had at the time a coffee shop.
Okay.
And then the third element was that he was a new revert to Islam and I was new to practicing Islam. So we were both freshly grounded. And so that kind of, those three kind of all merged into this name of Freshly Grounded.
I think it's an amazing name. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I appreciate it.
That's your brother Omar, right?
That's my brother Omar, yeah.
Okay, mashallah. When I first heard it, I actually thought it was like coffee or something like that.
A lot of people think that, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought of coffee when I first heard it. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this just sounds like coffee, but it also sounds inviting as well.
Right.
Do you get me?
Oh man, I've never heard that before. So that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, it really sounds inviting. So when I heard the name, I thought, boy, they done a good one with this one. They hit it on the nail.
That's Omar for you, man. That's Omar for you. He comes up with gems. I was invited to a talk once, and or I can't remember what I was invited to actually, but my name tag said Faisal Choudhry, and then underneath it said Freshly Grounded Coffee. So. Wow. Yeah, it must have just gone through like an admin team and they didn't know who I was. They just kind of writing up the name tags and I found it really funny. So I had to walk around with a Freshly Grounded coffee badge. It does
sound like that. It does sound like that. Quick question about football. Are you a football fan?
Okay, so I'm not a huge football fan, but I've had to. You live in London, you can't just go out and say that you're not a football fan. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to have many conversation. So technically speaking, go ahead.
No. Go on.
Technically speaking, I'm not, but I say that I support Arsenal.
Oh, which is not really you're my man now. That's it. You're welcome here anytime. If you say Chelsea, I would have said nah.
It's not very popular to support Arsenal right now, though.
Yeah, I know. We're not really making waves, to be honest with you. We're not really making. Yeah, you're welcome here anytime. Now I know that you're a gooner. That's it. Man.
Oh, I'm glad.
We've got coffee for you here, donut. You're welcome here. We've got everything lined up for you.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, I just want to say congratulations to Liverpool on winning the Premier League because they actually deserve it. And I think Jurgen Klopp's done a good job with that set of footballers that he's got down there. He's done an absolutely amazing job. Do you know what I mean? So, mashallah to that. Faisal, listen, we're going to go to a break and we'll be back after the break to continue this interview. Brothers and sisters, we're here on Revive FM 94.0 on your FM dial. Me, Ali Kamara, the Muslim poet. We've got Faisal from Freshly Grounded on the show. I'll see you in a few minutes. Inshallah, we'll be back after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
Qurbani holds a special place in Islam. It's stressed upon in the Quran and is a reminder of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam's devotion and obedience. Whoever made Qurbani with all sincerity, the acts of sacrifice will protect him from hellfire. Fulfill the Sunnah, feed the poor in Gaza, Syria, Pakistan, Africa and Yemen and reap the reward. Help keep families together this Eid and call 0114 365 4454 or visit familiesrelief.org. Limited allocation, so order yours now.
Amigos, the signature name when it comes to burgers and shakes. Our succulent burgers are prepared in front of you while you wait. Whether you go for the 6-ounce Mexican or the 10-ounce Texan, or you decide to go for a messy fries or buffalo wings, one thing you're guaranteed is quality. We've also got a range of desserts, including our trademark shakes in all your favorite flavors. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximize the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www.revivefm.co.uk. Alternatively, contact our sales team now on 07944 56 5616. That's 07944 56 5616.
If you're looking for a unique bespoke cake made especially for your big day, then look no further. Here at Sugar Sprinkle Cakery, we design some of the most imaginative and delicious home-baked cakes for your special occasions. We do fresh cream, buttercream, eggless and vegan cakes. Check us out on Instagram or Facebook at Sugar Sprinkle Cakery, or just call 07932 665 833. That's 07932 665 833.
What have you missed the most? A haircut? A visit to the shops?
Oh, you look lovely in that.
What about a nice lunch?
Fish and chips, please.
Salt and vinegar with that.
Or an afternoon in a pub garden? Fancy a casual bike ride? Or perhaps something a little more intense? Or maybe you want a relaxing day out. Whatever you've missed, get out there and enjoy it again safely. Find out how at gov.uk/enjoy summer safely.
With over 40 years experience in the industry, Plastic Carpets is the place to go for all of your carpets, laminates, linos and wood flooring. We have an established network of suppliers, which means we can offer some of the best prices in town. We offer free estimates and now even free fitting. Call us now on 0208 472 8568 or visit us at 157 to 159 Plastic Road, Upton Park, London E13 0QZ.
Revive FM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile
and online.
Since we're back after the break, we've got Faisal from Freshly Grounded on the show today. Faisal, how you doing, brother?
Very well, man. Thank you for having me. Like I said earlier, I'm enjoying it.
You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. Faisal, so tell us about your childhood. I know that your grandfather was very influential in your upbringing and stuff like that. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, man. My granddad was my best friend growing up, so I'm really, really grateful to Allah that Allah allowed me to have like 20 years of life with my granddad, because it meant that he kind of got to see me all the way from like being a child to going to university and stuff. And he used to never forget anything, and I take a lot of benefit from my granddad's characteristics. And one of them is that he would remember things that are important to a person, wow, even if they weren't important to him. So for example, if I had an exam, he would always text me the day before an exam. You got your exam tomorrow. Are you feeling prepared? How are you going to do well? After exam, he texts me and say, how did it go? And to be honest, to him, obviously, it's not really a big deal, but he knows that it's a big deal to me. And so he'd make an effort. And so little things like that, I kind of picked up from him. And yeah, man, just like watching him kind of growing up, he was a grafter, you know, and like a lot of our parents and grandparents were, he was the first of his generation to move from Pakistan to England, and it wasn't easy for them.
No, not in
so,
the beginning.
And so now me as his grandchild, I'm sitting here in my, you know, lovely studio, alhamdulillah, reaping the benefits of the hard work that he put in to to set up a good life for his family. So I suppose I don't think about that often enough, but that's true, isn't it?
So it seems like he had a big effect on you, because I know that you used to sell paintings with him when you was younger outside Hyde Park. What was that like?
Do you know, that was my first kind of eye-opening experience to like selling, such a direct form of selling, and a real graft. Like I said, he'd get up on early morning on a Sunday and he'd get in his van, load his paintings into the van, and we jump in the van with him, go down to Hyde Park. He'd put them up. He had a little section there, and then he was just there all day, just trying to sell paintings. And his paintings were like Arabic calligraphy, but like coined. They were like made with like copper. It was really, really nice. It's a tough one to explain, but they looked really, really lovely, man. And I just have nice memories of it. I have nice memories of sitting outside while he's like trying to sell, and we would just be like mucking about and going in and out of the van. And you know, the nice memories to have. Alhamdulillah, I was blessed with a really nice childhood that I have like great memories from. So I'm not gonna, you know,
it starts for a minute. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Do you know what I mean? If you have someone in the family that's a grafter, and you kind of look up to them, and they take you out, and the things that they do, sometimes that can rub off well on you. Sometimes we don't realize, I mean, from a young age and from an old age, how much of an influence we can have on people. Do you know what I mean? Like I think my dad was a big influence for me as well. Like grandfather was a big influence for you. My dad was a grafter. Every day he just grafting, working. And that's all I ever saw. So I was like, I've got to do the same. Do you know what I mean? And it's great to have people like that in your life, mashallah. So tell us about, I know you went to Cardiff University. What was life like there? Because I know you went through a tough stage at Cardiff University when you was studying down there, and things wasn't going so great for you. But you kind of dug deep, and you pulled through, and it was like a testing time for you. But you pulled through in the end. I was reading a bit about that, and can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I think ultimately, like, everyone goes through a stage in their life when they like transitioning into adulthood, where they have to like find themselves, don't they? And I think whether you whether you do it consciously or subconsciously, it happens to you. And so part of that is going over to somewhere where you don't know anyone, and you have to gain independence. And I think growing up, I considered myself independent, because I went from young. Our mum would teach us to like iron our own school uniforms, and we'd have chores around the house and that kind of stuff. But I don't think you realize until you live by yourself how much independence you have to have. And so it's like being thrown in the deep end. And so all of the experiences that you go through in just trying to find yourself and gain independence. And then there was a mosque very close to our house in second year, and I just fell in love with it, man. It was just lovely to see. It was a mosque where there was, when you are growing up and you grow up in a certain area, you might grow up in an area that's majority Asian, for example, and then so when you go to the mosque, it's full of Asians, and then when I went to the mosque in Cardiff, the community there is very vast. And so one imam would be from Jordan, another imam would be from Palestine, and then there's brothers in the masjid who are white. There's brothers in the masjid who are black. There's brothers in the masjid who are brown, and there was no like one culture in this masjid, and it was so lovely and it was so eye opening, and it was one of the things that kind of made me just fall in love with the religion more and more. Just seeing how it just like brings so many people together. And there was a guy there who I met called Joshua Dickens, and to me, he didn't look like the stereotypical Muslim that I grew up seeing in the mosques, because he was white, he was always in sports gear, he was always coming back from the gym, and we just built up friendship. He was my age, and I suppose he was like one of my first friends in kind of faith, and so yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about Islam, though, isn't it? Like, people always think it's just one culture or it's just Arabs and stuff like that, but it's not. It's black, it's white, it's Chinese. It could be whatever color, whatever culture. It could be from Philippines. They could be from China. They could be from, like, I'm from Sierra Leone. They could be from Pakistan, and they could be just plain English. Do you know what I mean? So that's the beautiful thing about Islam. It's not defined by its color. Do you know what I mean? And that's one of the things Malcolm X realized when he went to Mecca, when he done his pilgrimage to Mecca. he said that the white man was the devil. But then when he got to Mecca, he realized that he's praying with people that were black, brown, and of many, many different colors. And then he realized, hey, hold on a minute. This is the real Islam, you know, this is what it's like, you know? And then when he came back to America, he left, I think it was a Nation of Islam. And then he kind of, you know, cemented himself in the mainstream Islam. And that's when he started to do his own thing, you know? We won't touch on the political side of what happened after that, this, that, the other, but that's what I know. He kind of came to the mainstream Islam. He was like, this is what it's all about. My brothers are black, they are white, they are Chinese, they are of different colors. My sisters are black, white, they are Chinese, they're of all different colors, you know. So there's no racism in, you know, in Islam. However, we know that racism does exist in the deen. We will not shy away from that. You know, there's so many things that people won't accept you, even though you are Muslim, because of your color and this, that, the other. But that's another show altogether. Do you know what I mean? That's not today. But yeah, it does happen. You know, it really, really does happen. So in terms of like interviewing people, who would be the person you'd really most like to interview that is not around today? That's not with us no longer.
Okay, cool. That's a good question, because I was about to answer and say Mike Tyson. But if you say who's not around today, it feels really cliche, man, but you can't not say Muhammad Ali. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure you have the same answer. If I asked you the same question, I can't imagine you wouldn't say Muhammad Ali. Who'd you say?
I'd say there's the couple. I mean, I'd say Muhammad Ali, and I'd say Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if we're going to say Muslim, I would definitely say Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. I think Ali tops it for me, man. Ali tops it, because I'm just interested, and that's why I want to interview Tyson so badly, because regardless of the kind of fitna that's in their lives, the fact that at one point they're standing on the greatest stage where with millions of eyes watching them after winning a world championship fight and saying Allah is the greatest, what's motivated them to be so passionate about it that they want to just spread it on the greatest stage, on the biggest stage that they possibly can when there's millions of people watching. So that intrigued me a lot, man. And obviously we grow up watching Muhammad Ali's kind of old footage and stuff. And my granddad actually met Muhammad Ali. I've got a really cool story about that, actually, if you want to hear it.
Yeah, far away, for real, definitely.
So there's this picture of my granddad standing with Muhammad Ali, right? And so the story behind it goes that when Ali converted to Islam, as you know, my granddad sold paintings of like Arabic calligraphy, and so he had seen one of my granddad's paintings, and he wanted one of them. And so when he came to London for a press conference, they arranged to meet, and he was in the middle of no word of a lie. This sounds like such a fake story. He was in the middle. Ali's in the middle of a press conference. My granddad walks in, and he obviously knows my granddad. Yeah. And he calls my granddad to the front. They go to the back, and he presents him. That's where the picture was taken. He presents him the artwork. Wow. And my granddad says to Ali, you got thousands of people out there waiting for you. Should you not go back to the crowd? Yeah. And he goes, they'll wait for me no matter how long I take. Don't worry. That's a powerful story, man. I always feel like I'm telling a lie when I'm telling that story.
No, I believe you. No. I believe. Was it?
Yeah, my really powerful story.
That happened in London. It happened in London.
That would have been the dream. That would have been the dream.
That happened in the UK, right?
That happened in London, yeah, when my granddad was here.
Brilliant, mashallah. No, I believe that. So, but you see, Muhammad Ali was one of these kind of people that he would go and talk to the dishwasher.
Yeah,
the man who was washing plates, he would go and talk to him. He wasn't the kind of person that would be like, I'm not talking to this cleaner, I'm not talking to the dishwasher. Because I think one of his quotes was, if you can't respect somebody that is a cleaner, that mops the floors, or that is a dishwasher, or that is a bin man, do you know what I mean? You know, what kind of individual are you? You know what I mean? So him was the kind of individual that he would respect everybody. I think that's why people loved him so much. It wasn't about the money and having this big name and the belts and this, that, the other. He was so humble. And I was reading one of these things. He said that he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for wealth, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him Islam. That was his quote. He asked Allah for wealth, but he gave him Islam. Do you know what I mean? So the kind of person you're dealing with is not someone that's, of course, it's not say that he didn't like wealth, but at the same time, you know, he knew that he'd been given the Islam, and that was the gem that he'd been given over money. Do you know what I mean? You know, because sometimes you can have all the money in the world, but if you haven't got the deen to go with it, sometimes it can just ruin you. We even, the other thing about money is that
we often don't realize or know what the end result of money is. Like when you're trying to accumulate wealth, what is the end result? We might say the end result is, to live a comfortable life, to provide for my family. And, I don't need a lot, but just enough to support myself, my family. But I think that when we think like that, we've got the completely wrong idea of what the end result of money should be. And we know that giving is living. And the end result should always be, in my eyes, to give. And we've all experienced that feeling when we've given, and then someone's become so happy off the thing that we've given. And it's a feeling, even though you're the one who's giving, you're the one who wins that amazing feeling of warmth in your heart. And I think our intention for trying to accumulate wealth should be, the end result is, once I've fixed myself to just give as much as I can, how amazing would it be to know that your neighbor's struggling to pay the electric bill and you just anonymously pay it for them and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man, money is an interesting topic that we could talk about all day long.
Yeah, sure. I mean, those are the interesting things in life, knowing that, those are the things that should make you feel great, knowing that, anonymously, like you said, you've been able to feed people. You've been able to put them through school and they don't know that it's you. Do you know what I mean? And the good thing about them not knowing that it's you, it should make you feel a lot better knowing that it's not you, because sometimes, obviously, the ego can get to you if they know that, hey, it's Ali Kamara, or hey, it's Faisal Choudhry that he's put me through school. So that's why they say in Islam, sometimes when you're doing something, don't let the right hand know what the left hand is giving, or what the left hand, don't let the left hand know don't let the right hand know what the left hand is giving. So it's better to do it quietly, and if you're gonna do it for the sake of Allah, and let the people receive it. And do it quietly and take the blessings later, inshallah. Because there's nothing like sadaqah jariyah, as they say. Do you know what I mean? Because these are the things that will live with you after your death. Do you know what I mean? Not all this money that you've got and this big house that you've got and all this other stuff, and whether you've got gold-plated wheels on your car and stuff like that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not bothered about that. That doesn't take any weight at all. But the fact that you can feed people, clothe them, and they don't even know that it's you, and you're putting the children through school and doing all these things, or supporting widows, and stuff like this. Touching on a quick note, like our brother Tox in Syria, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala free him, because the brothers does a lot of charity work in Syria, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala free him, and we make dua for him, and we hope that his situation changes, inshallah, and they realize that the brother is just an aid worker and that he's really trying to help people, and he's changed so many families. In fact, it touched my heart to know that a lot of the people in Syria came out to demonstrate for him, and it's never happened before, at the fact that he's been, incarcerated, and they've got him in jail at the moment, these authorities. So hopefully they can free him, inshallah, and he can get back to doing the humanitarian work that he does in aiding the women and children and the orphans and the sick people in Syria. So we make dua for him, and we hope that, inshallah, that situation gets resolved, inshallah. Faisal, where did you grow up in London? Because I don't know where you grew up in London. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in West London, which was nice. We kind of
like me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on a second. So we must not be too far from each other then.
Okay. Whereabouts?
Yeah. But yeah, nothing really kind of different or to what any other Londoner has experienced growing up. Really, I wouldn't say there's any kind of anomalies in my upbringing in that regard. Yeah, just great memories of. Sorry.
What part of West London?
Trying to think about how I can be vague without being so specific about more than West London. Very, very west.
Don't give us GPS, not really.
Very West London.
When you say very West London, are we saying Ealing? Are we saying
like the Ealing area?
Around there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not a bad area.
Ealing actually was the first house that my mum had was in Ealing, I believe, and that's where they shot The Bill. The first episode of The Bill was shot there, and she was she could see it, I think, out of her window.
MashaAllah, I remember that. The Bill, yeah. That brings back memories. That does. The Bill. Wow. That's an old police program for those who don't know. Right.
It's actually quite upsetting that they ended up shutting that down.
I know, it was pretty good, to be honest with you. It's pretty good.
Quite good. It
wasn't bad. EastEnders, not really a fan of it. I got kind of gone off it, to be honest. I went off it years ago, bro. People are like, don't you watch EastEnders? I'm like, nah, man, that doesn't get played no more. That is not on the playlist. Are you considering writing a book for Freshly Grounded?
Yes, that's sure. So we've been able to interview so many people and take so many gems. I actually started writing a book about
It's
maybe
gonna be a bestseller, bro. It's gonna be a bestseller. You got my money.
I appreciate that, man. I started about a year and a half ago, and I never carried it on. I got so busy, and I think writing a book was one of those long-term projects, rather that like I want to build over time and the years, rather than put all of my time and effort into it in the short term now because of all the stuff that's going on. But yeah, inshallah, I really do plan to extract the gems and put it all into a book. That'll be amazing.
That would be amazing. I'm sure that the Muslim communities be ready for that, and all the people that like the halal entertainment, I'm sure they're going to be on that. I'm sure they're definitely going to jump on that. Freshly Grounded's got a book out, and they're definitely going to be on that and jump on it. Yes, definitely, 100% for real. I know you've had a few nasheed artists on the show. What is name me one of the nasheed artists that really you thought, you know, I've got to get him on the show, because I know you've had a few on there. I know you do bring a few nasheed artists on the show. I know you don't bring many on the show, but I know you bring a few. Yeah,
because you know, so. With nasheed, we've had Muslim Bilal on.
Have you had Yarame on as well? A brother called Yarame?
No. We haven't had many. We haven't had many on, honestly, bro. And I do you know what it is, bro? I don't think that when we look at to have people on, we don't necessarily look at what they do as much as what we can. I think there's like a few different things, like what we can take from them in terms of their experiences and stuff. And so I don't think we categorize people in kind of necessarily in what they do, as opposed to kind of what we like to pick from them. I think oftentimes I end up being biased as well with the guests because I am the host. I love having a conversation with someone who I'm really intrigued about, like what they do. And I just don't feel like I relate to nasheed artists in any way. Like I don't know how many questions I would have, and I don't know how much of a good episode I could make out of it.
Right. Unless they've got some interesting topics that you thought would be beneficial to the Muslim community.
All people do. Everybody has experiences and gems that they can give us. And so I don't know, man. I think I just don't think it's just when. I don't think that we have like a whole list of people who are kind of like we're waiting in that regard to like have on. I think like a lot of the episodes just kind of happen.
Spontaneous kind of.
Yeah, some of them are spontaneous. They go through the team. We're Freshly Grounded because it's not just myself. It's not like a lot.
The whole team. You kind of discuss who's going to go on it beforehand.
Yeah, a lot of the discussion has to happen with like the right time, the right place. The team have to have like their input on what they think will work and what won't work, and so we've got a nice little process now. I think in the past it was very much so like me just making all of the decisions, and as fun as that is in regards to kind of being able to just move forward with things, there's a lot more security in doing it in this way because we can really outweigh pros and cons and time and stuff like that. So yeah.
You can weigh it up and see what the content is like and whether or not it's actually beneficial for the show. Yeah, that does kind of make sense without a shadow of a doubt. In terms of like the tour, is there any news on whether or not it's going to be this year or is it going to be at the end of the year or next year? Because a lot of the fans want to know, is it going to happen? The people are trying to buy their tickets and they're asking me questions and I'm like, I don't know. We got 1 minute, by the way. They're asking me questions. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, so the short answer is we're waiting for the government to give us the green light. As soon as they give us the green light, we're going to go ahead with it, inshallah. We can't wait either. So as soon as we can, we're going to put the wheels into motion, inshallah.
Oh, brilliant. Well, Faisal, you know, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Revive FM today with me, Ali Kamara, the Muslim poet. Thank you for accepting the interview. Thank you for coming on the show. I wish you all the best with the tour.
Thank you so much.
I wish you all the best with the up-and-coming book, you know, and stay safe, as they say. Yeah. And inshallah, I will definitely see you soon, my brother. Inshallah.
Ali, I have to take a lot of pointers from you, man. You've been an amazing host. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And may Allah bless you. May He bless your family, inshallah.
And
Allahumma Mubarak, as they say. And we'll talk soon. And from everybody here at Revive FM, we wish you all the best. And salam alaikum, my brother.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
If you want to advertise your business on Revive FM, then visit www